Hey there, Capricorn. Welcome to your reading for the week of August 7th. This week, definitely check out astrojar.com for more awesome readers and astrologers. I think Capricorn was one of the signs who tried to comment last week and couldn't comment on my video, so I apologize for that. Actually, I have no clue. I have no clue why that happened. I think, YouTube must have been updating things, but I'm hoping that if you try to comment this week, for those of you who emailed me, I'm hoping that if you try to comment this week, you'll be able to. I think that's been fixed, but anyway, let's take a look at what's going on for you. You have the Three of Hearts coming up first. Three of Diamonds is what I meant to say. And the Three of Diamonds is a card of needing to be careful with paperwork. This showed up I think it showed up for Sagittarius as well, so right before you. And so it's definitely time for you, obviously, to make sure to double-check all paperwork. This is just simply, it's a warning card, as I say. It's not a bad card. It's just simply a card that says, don't allow there to be any mistakes on paperwork. Don't allow, something to happen because you didn't check. Just make sure to double check all paperwork. And if you're involved in something legal, like a divorce or anything else, this card says you might find something that benefits you. So if you go back over those papers, again, you might find a mistake or something like that that could help you out. So definitely a time to do that. Next, you have the King of Spades. Capricorn working towards becoming an authority. I think that, especially with Saturn going into your sign next year, I think it's just a time of Capricorn trying to become an authority, trying to step up and be, more of a leader in their lives. I think that a lot of Capricorns in the near future will also be very focused, have like a very strong expertise in a certain area. I think that a lot of you are developing skills or talents, or developing your talents, developing, your interests and things like that, so that you can be seen as like an expert in, one of a million fields. So I think a lot of you are just kind of like focusing on that. This is also the card of like judges, lawyers, politicians, all that other stuff. So a lot of you might be dealing with authority at this time as well. Next, you have the Seven of Clubs. Making slow and steady progress. I think, unfortunately, of course, for Capricorn, that is the story of Capricorn, isn't it? Like slow and steady progress, just kind of climbing up the mountain, so to speak. Like I said, I have, basically 5 planets in Capricorn myself, so, I totally feel your pain, your struggles with Capricorn and having to kind of like make that progress. But it's a good card because this card represents escaping. I used to call it escaping from prison. It represents like escaping from some sort of negative situation, but I stopped calling it that because I don't think escaping is the right term to use. I still haven't figured out a new name for it yet, but it's more like you are just you are getting away from the difficulties and moving towards much easier things. I don't think, and the thing I will say is, I don't think Capricorn, as a Capricorn, I don't think your life is necessarily going to get easier. But what I do think is going to happen is that you have just learned better ways to deal with things. You have learned better ways to, handle situations. And so in that sense, your life is actually going to get easier and much better. And I think it's going to lead to more things. I'm actually going to jump ahead to this card, Ten of Clubs, because I think a lot of Capricorns are going to end up like being teachers of sorts, not necessarily in school, but, maybe teaching your own course online or something like that to help people learn from your difficulties and things like that. So a lot of you might be sharing those words. But this is a card of great abundance and success coming from, teaching or sharing or offering some sort of value to other people's lives. And it's a great card of opportunities, having the opportunity to do, something that you've wanted to do for a very long time. And I think that's coming. This is also a card of, like, I think Capricorn's also at the point where it's like, if you're not seeing progress, I think you're just like, I'm just going to push really hard and make something happen. And I think that's what this card is saying, is that a lot of you are kind of getting to that point where you're just about to make that, like, final push where things will start to work out for you. Next, you have the Four of Clubs. A couple other signs have had this card this week. This card is my Mercury retrograde card, so it makes perfect sense. We have the retrograde coming up here, and the Mercury retrograde, so it makes sense that this card comes up during these times. It always does. It's really funny because this card usually only shows up during a retrograde. So it's definitely a time for you to focus, and, it's kind of like one of those cards that just warns you against making the typical retrograde mistakes. Don't purchase anything, expensive, no technology, don't purchase anything technological, all that other usual stuff with this card. And finally, you have the Queen of Spades. This card represents needing to get started on something. I think Sagittarius also had this card. So, being so close to you, it would make sense that the energy would kind of stick around that area of the chart. But this is a card of needing to jump into darkness, as I say, needing to get started on something, and just needing to get started and not wait any longer. So that's what I would do with this card for you, for sure. But looks like a great week. Maybe very mental. You have these clubs cards. It represents the brain, represents thinking, doing a lot of thinking, doing a lot of planning. So a lot of you could be doing that this week as well. But looks good. So thank you for watching, and enjoy your week.